Day ist, könnte man zum Beispiel auch machen. Aber ich bin gespannt, wie ich damit dann umgehen kann mit den ganzen neuen Sachen. Bin ich definitiv gespannt. Ja, sicher, am Anfang wird es natürlich ein bisschen ALLE-mäßig so richtig Fickerei geben, aber ich muss mich halt ein bisschen dran gewöhnen.
What the? When did it get pitch dark all of a sudden?
The lights are all out. Think it has something to do with the explosion back in the Forbidden Zone? Joe?
You two.
Die holt gleich die nächste Kugel.
Thank goodness you're safe.
Avakir filled me in about everything. About how I ambushed you all.
Nee, halt kann ich jetzt nicht wirklich sagen, aber na gut.
Remember a thing. So she really was being controlled.
He told me about Tarnigan too. Is it true?
What difference does it make? What's done is done.
Stop casting me off, just for once!
Faria, not now. It can wait. Dohalim, Lenegus is in grave peril.
So I can see.
It's the city's core reactor. It's damaged. Some of the basic systems we've managed to keep online, but complete restoration's still a way off.
You're an elite technician, though. You can fix it, right?
Okay, schaut ja eh schon wieder aus wie neu. Und weiter.
Panic's begun to set in among the citizens. Until now, whenever something like this happened, the Sovereign would issue a decree. But this time, not so much as a peep. Any longer and we run the risk of riots breaking out before we can get things back up and running.
Forget the Sovereign. I doubt you'll be hearing from him anytime soon.
What's that supposed to mean? Do you know something I don't?
Suffice it to say, the Sovereign isn't the kind of ruler we thought he was. That is, if he ever even existed, which is looking doubtful at this stage.
Are you out of your mind? Why, if people knew that a lord such as yourself was whispering such blasphemy, they'd...
There's no time to explain now. It sounds like we need to find a way to keep Lenegus from spiraling out of control.
We need to stop that riot.
But how do we do that?
Riots feed on discontent and unrest, right? So if we want to keep the peace, we just need to put people's minds at ease.
At ease? Like by letting them hear directly from someone they trust. That's it. Who's the highest ranking person in Lenegus right now?
Du, weil du Herrscher bist.
Wouldn't be the next in line. After all, you said the Sovereign rules over everyone directly, right?
Correct. The closest thing to an authority figure would be a lord. And the only one left is... Ah. Very well then. Avakir, you mentioned a few facilities were still online. Which ones?
Why hasn't the Sovereign said anything?
Please, won't somebody explain what's going on?
Is it over? What's going to happen to all
Aber
of
man
us?
hab schon die schon gern dabei, no? Den hätte ich schon gern dabei. Oh, live von dem Fernsehen, Rudi. Er wird zum Star. Herrscher sitzt nur am Häusl. Ja, der hat was Schlechtes gefressen. Er hat grad Scheißerei.
I would be honored to stand with you. Not as a person of loftier rank, but as another human being among many. I hope that you'll lend me your strength, for if we can persevere as one, bright tomorrow awaits.
Your speech seems to have done the trick. Looks like the city won't be descending into chaos after all.
I only pray the relief will tide the city over for the time being.
What you said earlier, about the Sovereign possibly not even existing, was it true?
It's still too premature to say with any certainty, but I believe so. This whole time, this world we've been fed was a lie, built on nothing but falsehoods.
But it can't all have been...
I can believe it. After everything I saw in the Forbidden Zone, what they did to Faria, it's the only explanation that makes sense.
But what about hierarchy, Avakir? Authority? The very foundations of Renan society? How can we live without someone to guide us?
I'd say we found someone capable of doing just that, wouldn't you?
Den Bulli hätte ich schon aber gern dabei. Nicht, dass wir... Sie fix nicht da, Alter. Bist deppert.
I have business I must take care of first. But once everything is over...
Okay, dann ist okay. Dann ist in Ordnung. Wenn er das alles danach erst macht.
Nor as a leader, the likes of which the people here are used to, I think.
But how else do you propose to rule?
I'm not sure yet. All I have is a feeling that here in Lenegis, a new dawn is on the verge of breaking. One in which people won't be judged by birthright or on the power of their astral arts, but on other things. More important things. Things like, oh, I don't know, musical talent, for example.
When I bumped into you after all those years, I said you were no different. But I was wrong. Truth is, you were always different. I feel like maybe now I can finally begin to accept Turnigan's death. To see a future.
Der gedepperte, jetzt passt aber auch nicht rein, gell?
You go finish whatever it is you've got to do.
Vorher noch hinterhalten und dann rennen. Ah ja.
Thank you.
I guess you're not going to make it to Menancia for the foreseeable future, huh?
Indeed. Forgive me.
The people of Elda Menancia can look after themselves just fine. It's the ones here on Lenegis who need someone to guide them. Besides, with you leading the people here, it'll help spread the idea of coexistence beyond Menancia's borders that much faster.
Sounds like you're in it for the long haul.
How could I not be, after the second chance that I've been granted? From this day forth, I shall dedicate myself to the future inhabitants of this world. Though the memories of the departed shall remain forever in my heart.
Remember, you're going to be leading the people here, not ruling them.
True enough. Whatever would I do without you, Kisara?
With or without her, I suspect you're gonna have your hands full when the time comes. We should be heading back to the ship. Business on Rena awaits.
Da wartet uns einiges, Digga. Bist du deppert. So einiges, so einiges. Na schauen wir wenigstens bei mir wieder das freigeschalten. Können wir wenigstens bei mir ein bisschen austoben. ALLE wieder. 500? Geht sich da noch was aus? Boah, das wär's. Das war noch Zeiten, wo sich mit 500 relativ noch viel ausgegangen ist. Das war noch Zeiten, oder? In die andere Richtung gehen. Obwohl, BEIM shoppen würde ich schon gern können. Vielleicht hat er irgendwas Gutes? Nice. Wer weiß. Gönn dir, Digi. Das wär's, das wär's. Obwohl. Oh, schade. Schade, schade, schade. Ist wenigstens ein bisschen was. Immerhin ein bisschen. Passt. Alter, Die hat gerade erst eine neue Waffe gekriegt. Die hat gerade erst noch eine neue Waffe gekriegt. Nein, die wird noch immer mehr und mehr hochgepusht. Alter. Elementarangriffe sind eh schon 1100. Was willst du noch mehr? Passt. Bin zufrieden. Wir sind auf perfekt. Mehr will ich gar nicht. Mehr interessiert mich gar nicht. Wenn ich mit allem perfekt bin, bin ich schon wieder zufrieden. Interessiert mich schon wieder nichts. Aber die hat schon 1100, ich weiß schon. Es wäre aber auch interessant, ob es uns noch der ein oder andere da vielleicht sogar aufhalten könnte. Nee, DG. Du darfst da definitiv nicht weitergehen. Oder? Nicht, dass da vielleicht irgendjemand sagt so, hey, interessantes Kostüm, wer bist denn du? Sieh irgendwas in der Richtung. Also der tut da wieder heilen. Das sieht ja keine Sau. Brennt's dahinter oder was? Ja. Ja, es brennt. Alles klar. Aber schaut jetzt eigentlich eh gleich viel besser aus, ha? Schaut eigentlich, glaube ich, fast aus wie neu. Ja, so das ein oder andere kleine Feuer, ja, gehört dazu.
Perhaps I have been a slave this whole time too.
You, a Renan lord? How do you figure that exactly?
I was complicit in the Renan system, bound by its values, resigned to being swept along, without the resolve to take a stand. And when I realized the severity of my mistake, all I longed for was punishment, a lord. And yet my first instinct was to place my fate in the hands of others.
I think I can relate. I couldn't stand watching my people bow and scrape their way through life, but I didn't know what else I could do about it either. The ability to think for yourself and be your own master, that's what separates a slave from a free person. At least, that's what Law's dad Zephyr used to say. Zephyr taught me how to fight. But in doing so, he also taught me how to live.
Even if it means stumbling along the way. If it's on a road of our own choosing, free of regret. Why, that's the road of freedom. Or, to put it another way, so long as his heart is compromised, even the loftiest of kings is no freer than a slave. I think I finally understand now. This Zephyr character sounds like he was a wise man indeed. I only wish I could have met him.
There's just so much I wish I could ask him, especially now. I wonder, have I been correctly carrying on the torch that he passed to me?
Mal wieder wichtiger Moment. Wichtig. Ganz, ganz wichtig. Gehe ich hier noch richtig? Ja, passt. Hoffe ich mal zumindest. Ja, passt eh. Die, geh ins Licht. Also, die verbotene Zone hat nicht wirklich jetzt gerade so verboten gewirkt. Also nicht so, dass du jetzt auch so komplett unüberwindbar oder sonst was. Muss man auch mal dazu gesagt haben. Interessant, dass der mich nicht angreift. Ich finde es schade, dass wir halt einfach nicht eine kleine Schnellreise hätten machen können. Das schaut schon mal wieder so mega aus, oder wenn du den Hurz-Planeten da siehst. Einfach der Wahnsinn.
I thought we'd find answers on Lenegis, but we just ended up finding more questions.
You can say that again. And now we have more problems to fix too. Like figuring out how to reform Lenegis.
That can wait for now. We've got more than enough on our plates to deal with as it is. Like figuring out who's really running the show on Rena.
Yeah. Which is why we're going to the Renan homeworld.
All the answers we've been looking for are on that planet.
Das bin ich definitiv auch gespannt. Auf das bin ich auch extrem gespannt, wie das wieder dort ausschaut und alles drum und dran. Wie weit fortgeschritten, wie die Menschen so drauf sind und wie sie darauf reagieren, wenn sie so einen Dino noch sehen werden oder zusätzlich. Ich bin gespannt. Ich bin definitiv gespannt.
We should get a feel for how things are on the ground before we take any serious steps.
It's also entirely possible that the first thing we're going to face is an attack.
If we come across a capital, we should...
Hä?
What?
Okay! Oh, Teile haben auch geschrien, oder? Digi! Alter, fickt's euch! Das sind ein bisschen mehr als wir nur 3. Woody? Wie viele Schattendoppelgänger kann ich noch? Okay, ich glaube so höchstens 5, glaube ich anscheinend. Für jeden Kern. Nein, doch nicht. Fuck. Ihr scheiß verfickter Ernst? Ihr scheiß verfickter Ernst? Wo sind wir? Alter, wo sind wir gelandet? Oi, oi. Entweder so richtig irgendwo am Arsch der Welt und auch noch aufteilt bis zum geht nimmer, oder wir landen irgendwo.
Damn! The hell just happened?
Our course has been altered. The coordinates are pointing to a different destination.
What's that?
The ship's controls aren't accepting my commands. The engine is being shut down.
That's bad, right?
Oh shit.
We've lost control of the ship.
Is all of this the Red Women's doing?
Are they trying to finish us off before we can land?
Everyone, look there.
Sag jetzt nicht in irgendeine scheiß fucking Sonne vor mir. Was? Ach, leck mich doch am Arsch! Ich hätte schwören können, das ist einfach ein ganz normaler Planet. Fuck! Holy moly! Nicht schlecht, nicht schlecht! Scheiße! Also ich würde mal sagen, wir wissen jetzt, wo unser Ziel ist. Jetzt müssen wir nur noch dorthin kommen, hätte ich gesagt gehabt. Oder? Ach du Scheiße.
Flower blooming out of Rena?
But that flower looks like it's absorbing all of Dana's energy.
Wundert sich keiner, dass der Planet so ausschaut? Oder haben die das schon so cool gehabt? Oder habe ich irgendwas verpasst?
Could that have been its true purpose all along?
If that's true, do you think the people back on Lenegis are all right?
Boah, noch geiler wäre es, wenn sie alle besessen wären und alles drum und dran, wir müssten gegen die kämpfen.
Damn it! Haven't they taken enough already? When is this going to end?
The Flower of Oblivion.
With everything that's happening, we need to get back to Lenegis. Is the ship still offline?
Unfortunately, yes. Even more so than when it lay dormant.
Can you fix it?
Starships are extremely complex machines. One wrong move while we're out here in space could very well cost us our lives.
So what? We're just stuck inside here, floating around? For how long?
I don't believe this. We've made it all this way, and now we're stuck here? We're watching Dana die before our eyes, and we have no choice but to sit here and starve to death?
Law, calm down! You're not the only one who's worried here.
Right. Sorry.
still too early to give up. There has to be a way to get out of this.
Alphen.
Now what?
The starship, it's back online?
No, this is different. Something is pulling our ship in towards it.
Wenn's mir jetzt kommst mit Raumschiff beraten, Alter, dann bloß im Leben überhaupt nicht mehr. What? Was ist jetzt das bitte wieder für eine Station? Hä?
We managed to get moving, but where are we?
It looks like
Irgendein
Lenegis in there.
Empfangskomitee, irgendwas in irgendeiner Art und Weise. Wir
Do you think
werden.
we might run into more remnants here? Or those red women?
Perhaps. Someone brought us here. The question is, who?
We haven't been ambushed, so that probably means they aren't hostile. Still, why would anyone want to bring us here?
Hey, Shion!
If they wanted to attack us, they could have done so while we were back on the starship. We should see where this path takes us.
Ich hätte wenigstens gerne ein Empfangskomitee gehabt, aber man kann sich ja nicht alles wünschen. Jetzt bin ich aber gespannt. Jetzt bin ich aber gespannt, aber bester Depp oder wirklich eine Enthüllung nach der anderen und noch mehr Fragen. Immer wieder noch mehr Fragen, Alter. Aber haben die gewusst gehabt, dass der Planet so ausschaut? Jetzt hier redet sie mir allererst mal, dass das so ausschaut. Keiner hat erwähnt gehabt, dass der nicht rund ist.
Still though, I never would have imagined Rena actually looked like that. And what's the deal with that giant flower coming out of it?
Beats me. I have absolutely no clue. It's so surreal. It looks like a broken egg or something.
Nein, kann man das nicht wirklich vergleichen, aber noch gut passt.
Taught that both worlds were spherical bodies that floated amongst the stars in the heavens. But to think that they lied to us not only about the Sovereign and the Crown contest, but also the form of our own planet.
Na endlich erwähnen sie es auch, na Gott sei Dank. Na Gott sei Dank. Bin ich nicht der einzige Volltrottel, der was das nicht mitgekriegt hat, dass der Hurensplanet nicht rund ist. Aber schon doch gehabt, da habe ich schon wieder was verpasst, das gibt's ja nicht. Oder was soll ich beginnen? Ist ja lustig. Wow. Aber die obere Ebene geht dann, oder doch? Leckt mich am Arsch. Okay, da haben wir wenigstens. Oi. Wieso habe ich gerade irgendwie so Guardian of the Galaxy Vibes? Den Warlock? Bist du es? Aber Hauptsache der Hurens Encounter rennt noch immer. Scheiß verfickter Encounter, Alter. Fick dich. Aber das wäre so, wenn ich jetzt das ein bisschen Zapzerab machen könnte. Bei der einen oder anderen Kisten. Das wär's jetzt, Alter, wenn er da drin wäre, Alter, dann würde komplett. Da würde einfach nur noch alles im Kopf explodieren. Wenn du jetzt da drin sehen würdest. Schaut irgendwie aus wie die rote Frau.
It's one of those. A red woman in disguise. Or is this their true form?
So it was a trap?
It doesn't look like it can move.
Wehe, du bewegst dich. Wehe dir. Schau mal, ob überhaupt irgendjemand drin ist, sonst könntest du die Rüstung verwenden. Hä?
That is correct. It is unusual for me to have unexpected guests these days.
It can talk.
What are you?
Hevrect 35.
Hevrect 35. Is that your name?
Correct.
Ich bleib bei Rote Frau.
No, wait, before that. Just what exactly are you? Are you somehow associated with the Red Women?
Before I answer, I have a question for you. How did you all arrive in this sector?
We did not come to this place by choice. Our ship was brought here against our will, by a group of red women who can shift into the same form as you.
In that case, we can assume my brethren who serve the Great Spirit have deemed you all to be a threat most grave.
What do you mean, serve? Are you saying there really is someone more powerful than the Red Women, pulling their strings?
Upgrades? Upgrades? Komm schon, Upgrades?
Your bodies. You have not been harmed in any way.
Oh, Fahrt.
Identifiers detected. The Sovereign and Maiden are among you. However, you aren't under its control. I see why they viewed you as a danger now.
Oh goody, more riddles.
Do you think we can trust this thing?
Like it or not, it may be our best chance at a ticket out of here. Let's at least hear it out.
I shall now answer your questions. We are Helganquil. The Red Women you encountered previously are a form of disguise we employ from time to time, but not our true form.
Helganquil?
You are on Daeq Faezol, a celestial base which drifted here by accident. The will of Rena's great spirit no longer reaches us here. Since my sudden separation from the Great Spirit's influence, I have used any and all means to extend my lifespan. As I have done so, I have also set out to monitor and research Rena and Dana from this position.
A question. What is this great spirit of which you speak? Is it something that rules over your kind?
Correct. The Great Astral Spirit is a large mass of astral energy that fills all of Rena, one with its own will, a voice we cannot refuse.
A voice? Just like Dana.
The voice of the Great Spirit speaks to our hearts directly, and we have served it, without question, throughout the ages.
Does that mean it was controlling your minds? Wait a second. Could this great spirit be the true sovereign of Rena?
The true ruler of Rena. It could be the same thing that's controlling Volron.
Wait, back up. You're telling us this great spirit of yours is the one that ordered you things to harvest the astral energy from Dana? I'm not sure I believe that.
Why not? We've already made contact with the will of Dana back in the Wedge, and in the Forbidden Zone on Lenegus. If Dana has a will of its own, I don't see why Rena wouldn't.
Maybe not, but think about what you're saying. If Dana has a will like Rena, then that would mean that we've been controlled by the voice of Dana this whole time, just like these things.
Dana's will hasn't been forcing us to do anything.
Yeah, but...
Let's assume that what Hevrek 35 claims is true, and that we are indeed cut off from both planets. Even if we had previously been under the control of Dana's will, we would have noticed now that we are disconnected.
Your fear is not based in logic. The voice of Dana is much smaller and quieter compared to that of Rena's great spirit. Rena's astral energy is amassed at its center, whereas Dana's is shared among all its constituents. So thinly is that energy spread that it cannot coalesce and formulate a will. Our findings here indicate as much.
Which explains why we felt its will where we did. The Wedge and Lenegus are where so much of that energy had been accumulated.
The Great Spirit's desire is to consume all astral energy, and the pursuit of that desire is why you see Rena in its current state. As a result, it has turned its attention toward Dana.
Is that why the crown contest is necessary? So that the Great Spirit can feed off of Dana?
Indeed, and it was to that end that we Helganquil devised the crown contest. Had the initial spirit channeling from 300 years ago succeeded, all of Dana's astral energy would have been seized.
But the ceremony failed. Lenegis was severely damaged, and you lost both the Sovereign and the Renaissance.
Correct. A change in plan was required to ensure the spirit channeling's success. However, recreating the Renaissance required a vast amount of energy. That is why we turned to Dana.
So that was the real purpose behind the crown contest. An efficient means to harvest the necessary energy from Dana.
This is all happening.
Besteppad.
Nevertheless, you still haven't answered one of Alphen's original questions. Just why have you brought us here to your base, Hevrecht 35?
First, it was to confirm the identities of you, my unexpected visitors. Second, it was to ascertain whether you would be likely to accept my request.
A request? But what could someone like you want us to...
I wish for you all to slay the Great Spirit.
Ja, da brauchen wir schon ein kleines Power-Up, gell? Musst du schon ein bisschen auch uns entgegenkommen, hallo? Also, ohne Power-Up geht aber gar nichts, aber da wohl möglich sein. Jeder braucht einmal ein neues Kostüm. Neue Schwerter.
As we speak, Dana's energy is being harvested en masse and transmitted to Rena. If nothing is done about the Great Spirit, it will not be long before all is lost.
You're saying the destruction we saw earlier is just the beginning? That...
We won't let that happen.
Why do you want us to kill the Great Spirit so badly? Is it to save our world? To free you, Helganquil, from under its control? Why?
No. My primary concern is validating our findings and analysis, which have taken many years to realize. As such, it is my desire to see how your actions impact and change these systems. However, I will not deny that vengeance also plays a part.
Vengeance? For what?
In spite of our long service to the Great Spirit, our species is on the brink of extinction.
You mean... you're dying?
At this stage, it would be wise for you to talk with the others. Ask them what you need to know. Once you have your answer, return to me. If you agree to help, I shall fix your ship.
Die anderen. Lustiger.
I am the only Helganquil who inhabits Daeq Faezol.
Weiß ja nicht, aber ich glaube, es wird da schon langsam ein bisschen brenzlig dann, oder? Also wenn ich zu allen anderen als erstes gehen muss und dann zu dir, du Digi. Aber lustiger. Die Zeit drängt. Aber nein, wir sollten einmal lieber mal zu anderen Leuten auch gehen. Ja, na sicher. Als nächstes sollten wir auch noch mit anderen Leuten verkehren und alles drum und dran. Wie bitte?
You can't seriously be buying anything that creature told us, right? I mean, it's practically blackmailing us into doing its dirty work.
To be honest, the conversation went on for so long, I'm not sure I understood all of it. How about you, Dohalim? Were you able to follow it at all?
At the very least, everything it said about the Renan Great Spirit adds up. At the end of the day, this whole chain of events comes back to astral energy. That being said, had we not previously encountered the will of Dana, I suspect I would find its story much more difficult to believe.
The spirit of Rena wants to see Dana completely destroyed.
But why? Astral energy is supposed to be a force that creates and shapes the world.
It doesn't matter. I don't care if we're up against an entire world or what its game is. We're not going to let it destroy Dana.
Right.
There is one other thing that concerns me. How the Great Spirit, the Helganquil, and the Crown Contest are all part of a centuries-long plan is clear enough. But what about the Renans? How do they factor into all this?
Now that you mention it, and all that talk, Hevrecht 35 never even brought up the Renans once. And as for the Helganquil, we never did find out just what they are either.
Maybe it had a reason for keeping its silence. Or perhaps there's even more going on. Maybe the others will shed more light on the matter. Let's find out.
Na, Alter, ich bin gespannt, oder? Was die anderen zu sagen werden. Ich hätte mal gesagt gehabt, wir gehen mal definitiv auch in die obere Ebene. Safe und dann die untere. Vielleicht gibt es ja auch das eine oder andere Kämpfchen. Und plötzlich siehst du 100.000 andere von einer. Ah ja, das könnte sein. Bist du deppert, aber sehr, sehr sexy. Oder? Gefühlt sind wir noch weiter weg als wir vorher. Oder kommt es mir irgendwie nur so vor? Das sei mir nicht böse, aber wir sind wirklich, glaube ich, weiter.